What's up, everybody?
Oh, I'm looking jacked.
If today was opposite day, yes. Listen, welcome back to another episode of the Corona Chronicles. Hopefully, will all be over soon. But in the meantime, don't forget to holler at your boys. Follow Jiu-Jitsu Radio on Instagram. Don't forget to hit the little notification bell. Hit the subscribe button if you're listening to us on iTunes. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. YouTube, there's a little sign down there. You can hit up that too. Or Spotify, or Google Play, or Stitcher, or SoundCloud. We're freaking everywhere. So there's no excuse. And we thank you everybody for the support that you've been showing us this whole time, even the past couple of weeks with the new soap bar that came out that sold out in a weekend. You're welcome. Listen, we need your help, and we need you to support our sponsors because our sponsors support us. So it's kind of like the circle of life. Like, Shawn, where's your little tiger you can hold up? Do you have one?
Bust out singing, so I don't think you want me to do that.
Yeah, please start singing. Just sing throughout the whole intro.
Circle of life.
So don't forget to follow Chokaloha. You gonna keep going, or you don't know the words?
I don't know anymore.
Check out jokaloha.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio at checkout to get 20% off your entire order, whether it's brand new stuff or stuff on sale. You'll get the discount. You can even pick up that awesome rash guard you saw us sporting last week. It's there. There's not that many left, so hurry up and get yours. Jiu-Jitsu Radio, promo code at checkout. Save 20%. Then check out Jiu-Jitsu Soap Code. Get yourself a bar. Someone stole the bar that I had here on the table, so I don't know where it's at.
Bullshit. What?
Yeah, someone stole the bar I had on here. Anyway, you could go pick up your own. Stop stealing other people's soap. Go to jujitsusoapcode.com. Use the promo code JJRadio, and you can get yourself some limited edition bars, just like the one we had. It might not be as cool as ours,
and
but still
it'll clean all your muscles.
Yeah, see, like that. It'll get right in all those creases. Get in all the creases. Get yourself some antifungal spray for the gis, for your bags. Pick up a bath bomb if you got a bathtub big enough for you. And you can get it all at discount when you use the promo code JJRadio. At checkout, you'll get 10% off. You're welcome. Big shout out to Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. And also, don't forget to check out our homies over at Giraffe Choke, where you can pick yourself up a hat as cool as this. I just love the fact that it's even got a little alert, sweat spray. That's detail, son. That is detail. You can get yours at giraffechoke.com. Use the promo code JJRadio checkout, and you'll save 25% off of orders of $99 or more and get free shipping. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Get yours today. Why are you laughing?
This is detail.
This
these
detail.
stick figures. Detail.
There's details on stick figures.
But there's no face.
Actually, there is a face. You see the eyes? Look at that. See, it's got eyes. It's got a nose. Holler at your boy. Listen, we got a special guest today. This is someone that's got a real insight and has been a part of the jiu-jitsu scene in the United States almost from day one. We have a mutual friend who made me privy to his whole story, and it was really, really interesting. Shawn and I really had a blast on having him on the podcast, so I think you're really going to look forward to it. Straight from Toms River, New Jersey, from Maidama BJJ, Jim McCormick.
You kidding me, Bob?
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you the co-owner of Madama Jiu-Jitsu, black belt under Josh Madama, Jim McCormick. Jim, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing good. How are you holding up there? I heard you had a busy weekend, huh?
Yeah, I put fences up. We're cleaning out behind my garage. I am more sore now doing this kind of stuff than doing jiu-jitsu. I have old man jiu-jitsu where it's a lot of laying down. Let you work a little bit until about the 2 minutes are left, and then maybe I'll start working. So
I mean, you're a pretty good active guy, and like your wife coaches as well, right?
yeah, my wife's my wife can kick my ass stand up. She's been training kickboxing for 10, 12 years. I don't even know.
So you guys,
I do very little. I take three kickboxing classes a year.
That's your quota.
That's it. Yeah, and sometimes she needs somebody to hold pads for. I can hold pads.
That you can do, but you guys are definitely not a stagnant household. You got to stay moving.
Yeah, she's also a purple belt.
Oh wow!
And my daughter's a purple belt. My 15-year-old son is a green belt, but he you know what, he can. His thing is kickboxing too. When he was 9 years old, he kicked Al Iaquinta in the head. So Al came by the academy. So for people who don't know, is that my instructors, we were just talking about before we started. My instructor is a Matt Serra black belt, and he knows a lot of the guys from Matt's place, and Al's one of them. We would have guys from Matt's place, Chris. Al Iaquinta,
Weidman.
Chris Weidman.
Right.
I learned that the base of my whole head and arm strangle game is Chris Weidman's game.
Oh, that's a good.
Chris was funny. So anyway, Al Iaquinta came down and taught a kickboxing seminar, and my son was 9. And I said, "Watch this, Al." I said, defend yourself. Go ahead, Caldwell. His name's Caldwell. Boom. Al blocked it, but at 9 years old, could kick a grown-ass man in the head. So
That's a pretty big kid.
He's 6 foot tall. He's a monster. I'm 5'8".
Jim, I'm going to tell you, I'll fight any 9-year-old. I don't care.
Listen, me too. I've always said jiu-jitsu is really. I've taught the kids classes for a decade. I've always said jiu-jitsu is really good against kids. Really good.
Oh, it's awesome.
So for people that don't know, we actually have a mutual friend, Jay from Jiu-Jitsu Soapco, and he gave me a heads up on you, and he told me that you had quite an interesting story. And the little bit that I learned, obviously doing my research, and the more you and I started talking, I would say it's definitely a story that I think some people should hear. So I just wanted to kind of get your background, just kind of how you got started in jiu-jitsu and really your evolution.
All right. Well, let me start with how I got back into it. I'll backdoor from there.
Right.
To start with, I started taking jiu-jitsu in the early 90s. Back when, as far as I know, there were only 2 blue belts on the East Coast. Steve Maxwell and a guy that nobody knows anymore. And now his Dave Lentz. This almost jumped out of my head. Dave Lentz. Dave's a black belt. He's been a black belt for years, but that was it. And they were gods on the East Coast. And I didn't know Dave Lentz existed, and he lived 45 minutes from my house. My brother-in-law, I guess I am starting from the beginning. My brother-in-law was he was my wife's sister's boyfriend at the time. He wound up getting married to her and became my brother-in-law. He was a karate instructor and always wanted me to take karate with him. And I used to say, I think karate's bullshit. If reverse punches were real, Larry Holmes would be using it. That's the exact quote that I had.
Right.
But one day I'm flipping through one of those black belt magazines, and I see this little postage stamp size ad in the back of like the last page of black belt magazine that says, learn real fighting. Most real fights go to the ground. Doesn't matter what kind of stand-up you do, back yourself up with the best ground fighting on the planet. Undefeated in the mean streets of Brazil, whatever Horians.
Right.
And it was a little, and I said, that's what I want to learn. I had I don't want to call it a lot of fights when I was a kid. I had a lot of what I called sport fights, where
slap boxing,
you go to drive to the hoop, and then somebody clotheslines you, and you turn around and you put your fists up, and you go a little bit. Then one guy pops a guy, you grab each other, you fall to the ground, and then your buddies knock you off each other, and you play some more basketball. That was kind of my fights. And that was my plan, too. I was one of the smallest guys. My plan was to get one shot in, let them take it to the ground, let my buddies knock them off me. That was my plan.
Not a bad strategy. A very efficient strategy.
You're one of those guys that, hey, hold me back. Like, let's go.
No. I would go. I would go. I learned early as a kid. I got punched once, like sucker punch, and I didn't die. So I figured, you could eat these things and maybe not die. So I didn't mind. It's not that I didn't mind getting punched. I knew that
you got a chin.
You had a chin
on you. I got you.
So I used to try to just get one shot in.
Right.
And then all hell would break loose and be on the ground. So
Right.
I told him, in my experience, this is what happens. Real fights, guys grab each other, even in boxing, if you think about it.
Yeah.
The only reason that they don't go to the ground is because the referee separates them.
Right.
So all fights digress to the grappling ring. You digress to that clinch phase. And then eventually, even if you don't know takedown, somebody's falling down.
Right.
So
you see this ad and you.
So I see this ad.
Right.
And this is before the internet.
Yeah.
So we write, we write to the address, which is Torrance, which is Forehands. We get on their mailing list, and I think we buy the first inaction tapes. I think that's what it was. And I think anybody who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years knows the inaction tapes.
Yeah.
The Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in action. So we get that, and we're also on the mailing list, and then we find out that one of the Gracies, and this is before the first UFC.
Right.
So one of the Gracies is coming to Steve Maxwell's place in Philadelphia, which is an hour from my house. And did we want to take lessons from him, private lessons? So he and I took semi-private lessons from Hoist. He'd be up for a week, and we'd take, I don't even know. It's so blurry now, 3 or 4 classes, privates with him. And if there was a class afterwards, we would join that class.
Right.
By a class, I mean 6 more people show up.
Right.
So nobody was doing jiu-jitsu back then. It was like
nobody knew.
It was like I can remember before the UFC, the only thing I thought that there were like taekwondo, karate,
Kung
wrestling,
Fu.
and
Kung
boxing.
Fu.
Maybe
Kung Fu because of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But like there was no like grappling art. Maybe judo. You heard, you knew judo, but you just thought it was throwing people around.
Yeah, well, you saw it in the Olympics. That was about it.
Right. But it was always one of those things, like, I was never one to believe, like, when you saw the one guy, like, get into, like, a karate stance in a fight, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to play out the way that you think it's going to play out, bud. Like, I mean, it looks cool and all, but so.
Well, that was my point with karate. It's like, if these punches work, Larry Holmes is getting paid millions, and Larry Holmes was the heavyweight champ at the time.
Yeah.
So I could kind of tell you what the timeline is.
Yeah, right.
He'd be using them. He's not.
For sure.
He's getting paid millions of dollars.
So you take those private classes basically, and then where do you go from there?
Well, we would.
Were you hooked from the beginning?
Yeah, but we didn't do any like live training yet. It was all just class. Like I guess you did live training with Hoist, but you didn't know it. Like Hoist would grapple with you, but he'd fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like you don't know anything. Imagine being a day one white belt, weight 150 pounds, and Hoist Gracie just does what he wants.
Yeah.
Maybe he's live training, but you're getting humiliated.
It's like that magic where it's like, how did I get into this position? Why did this person have his legs around my head?
Yeah, I guess we all have that in the first days.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on here? So, but yeah, we were hooked. We were 100% hooked. I think part of it that hooked it is my brother-in-law, his name's Nelson, also a black belt now. Got his black belt before me. He was very cerebral. Like he was a thinking guy. So this really spoke to him. So we got along. We would take whatever we learned, the 3 or 4 moves that Hoist showed us, and we would drill them out in his living room or my living room or my front yard with no mats, just dirt on the ground.
Right.
We would just drill the hell out of them until we'd go back again.
Right.
So we would probably have, I don't know, 16 moves from going up with them or so. 16
so it's legitimate.
Every 6 months.
Right. So it's like legitimate mail order, like jiu-jitsu, or like self-taught jiu-jitsu.
Well, yeah. Well, you get it taught from Hoist, and then you bring it home and just do it. And eventually the fundamentals, Horian and Hoist put out a fundamentals VHS tapes, 6 tapes.
Yeah.
And at this level right now, they're kind of laughable. But we get those and just drill the hell out of them.
Right.
So every 6 months or so, whenever Hoist would come up, we do it again, and then drill it out.
Were you still in your ready for a fight whenever phase? Like you're kind of hoping, like, I hope somebody messes with me today. I want to try this out.
It's actually kind of better than that. And I don't know if this is when we were doing that stuff or when I was going classes, but we would have people come by my house and have a couple of beers, and people want to take a shot at the title. We go out in my front lawn, and
who wants to go for King of the Mountain?
And just go after it. We one day we broke the couch in my house. Like we're grappling in my living room. We moved the furniture, but it toppled onto the couch, snapped the couch in half. And my wife never got mad.
That's kind of cool, though. I mean,
Never got mad.
That's a ride or die. I appreciate that.
So go back to hoist up. So, and we did this for, I don't know if it was at least 2 years. It may have been more. It all blurs, especially as
Right.
you know, it's 40 years ago.
Right.
So I remember after the first UFC. So
Right.
we knew hoist before the first UFC. Now there's the first UFC, and I don't know how old you guys are, but you sound like you have an understanding that before jiu-jitsu, you didn't know what worked and what didn't work.
Of course.
If you were a little in the game, if you wrestled, you kind of knew. If you did
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, you kind of knew. If you boxed, you kind of knew, but you never knew if this pressure point stuff, this 2-a kind of crap, did it work? It didn't work. Did Dim mock? Can somebody gut touch you? You didn't really know. And then Hoist does this, and this is a guy I know, and just, go watch UFC 1, see what he does. But nobody knew anything. You put somebody in an arm bar. Arm bars were magic. I tell my students, arm bars were magic. You guys grew up with it.
Yeah.
But when you saw your first arm bar, that was a holy shit moment.
It was like one of those things like, that doesn't work. That's got to be a fix. Try that on me. Like, tell me if that works.
It was the opposite for me. We were like jumping up in the air like,
So did you have the whole conversation where like maybe you're at the bar and people like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, no, I know that guy. Like, no, you don't. You don't know that guy.
Yeah, my personality isn't the type where I need to try to convince you. I think what I know I already know. I don't need to worry about you. I even relatively recently almost had an altercation. Didn't have an altercation, but my daughter's test driving a car, cut somebody off, and at a stoplight, the guy runs at the car. I have the window down. We're kind of sideways to him. I have the window down and say, listen, she didn't see you,
Right.
Go back to your car. She didn't see it. It was a mistake. No, there was no accident or anything, but he's running at the car.
Right.
And I'm thinking, all right, when this door opens, we're going to see if all this shit I've been doing for decades works.
I see you didn't even think like, man, my daughter can beat you up, bro. Just go. Just go.
No, I'm just, going back to Hoist. The first lesson I got from Hoist is he said, nobody's punch proof.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get punched. I don't want to get punched. Nobody's punch proof. I still think about that like all the time. And when I teach classes, sometimes I said, nobody's punch proof. Anybody can sneak one in on you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Here's my question. Is Nelson still doing karate? Or did he...
No. Years ago, that was gone.
Yeah.
At what point? I wonder at what point did he go, oh man, I
think after the second or third lesson.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like if you get the karate belt, it's like, man, there goes 3 years of mine.
I hate saying that because I don't believe anything that you do like that physically that can provide discipline and confidence. I don't think it's a waste of time. It may be.
You might get something out of it, but it might not be getting what you think you're getting.
And especially if you're a kid. But, at the same time, it's very, very rarely does karate ever work in a fight. Please take a horse stance against me. I mean, I'm begging.
Yeah. No kidding.
Listen, there are some videos where you see where it does work. So, I mean, they got that kick in. They might have gotten like the punch in, but I mean, look, there's a really famous like old like video where it was some pimp was like beating up like his girl, and it was like right in front of a karate studio. So the guy comes running out and he just sits there, horse stance, and just single punch, like just beats the crap out of the pimp. You've never seen this, Shawn?
I've seen it. The one right.
It's like old. Yeah, it's old. I mean, so like you got to give credit where credit's due. Once in a while, it works.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
goes back to you can always get a punch in.
Yeah.
Nobody's punch proof.
Chris Howder put it the best. Like have you watched that documentary on YouTube, Roll?
Yeah.
Where he says everybody else is walking around with sticks and stones, and you're walking around with a howitzer. That's the difference between jiu-jitsu and everything else, it seems.
So
punch factor.
So Jim, all right, UFC 1 goes on. What happens next for you in jiu-jitsu?
So what winds up happening is after UFC 1, now I'm probably I'm not a young man at this point. I'm like 35. I'll be 56 in a month.
So I'm not a young guy. Good for 56.
Thanks. It's not me, it's jiu-jitsu, trust me. You tap enough, you learn how to kind of protect your neck a little bit.
Keep the face looking good.
So I'm like a 35-year-old man, and Royce after UFC won. Now UFC is still underground.
Yeah.
You have senators saying that this stuff is awful. It's the worst stuff on the planet.
Even cockfighting.
You know, worse than animal porn.
Right.
You know, it's that kind of stuff. But I go to Royce. The first time I see him, I look at him like he's my dad. You know, like I'm 5 years old, my dad, and I literally said, as 35 years old, "Are you the best fighter in the world?" And he looks at me, and goes, "I'm not even the best in my family." So,
which is technically true.
It was technically true.
All right. So then you go and you continue your journey.
Yeah, continue. So what winds up happening? Again, we're on this mailing list where Horian's always sending us stuff. We get stuff. We get little care packages from with. I wish I still had the old original Gracie.
That'd be great.
Stickers.
Yeah.
The Gracie Jiu-Jitsu stickers. But as luck would have it, Craig Q. Cook, the first American black belt, moves from California to Red Bank, or the Red Bank area in New Jersey, which is literally 45 minutes north of my house.
Man, what did he do to screw up?
Well, he did a lot to screw up, and I will give you I'll tell that story as much as I'm comfortable with telling.
Even better.
It's not a lot because I never was an inside guy. So he moves up there.
Right.
Hear about it. Me and Nelson hear about it. We start taking classes immediately. I work with Craig long enough to get a blue belt. So that's a year and change, whatever it is. And eventually I was working an hour and a half in the opposite direction, coming home. I had a daughter. My wife said she was 1, but that timeline doesn't work. She might have been 3 because she was born in 91.
Right.
The first UFC was 93.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was probably going to Philadelphia when she was 1. But whatever. It's somewhere in the early, that's why I always say the early.
Right.
So Craig goes up there. But I'm traveling from Princeton, coming home, kissing the baby, eating dinner, going up and 2 or 3 times a week to train 45 minutes from the house. And on top of that, there's a bar across the street. So you take your hour and a half class, and then you're another hour and a half in the bar, and you're not home until 11, 12 o'clock at night. And then then it starts all over again. And it just became, I actually thought it was unfair. It became too much to put on me with a growing family and a growing career. So, and maybe I was a little bit, I'm trying to think now, I was probably a little bit younger than 35, but I was.
Yeah, you're 10 years older than me.
Gotcha.
So that at 90, I was 90. I graduated high school at 18.
So maybe 30.
Yeah.
Right.
So closer to 30.
So first UFC, you were 30.
Yeah. So closer to 30. So I wound up quitting. I wound up quitting taking formal classes. You got to remember that my brother-in-law, at that point he was my brother-in-law, is still taking classes. So we would come and drill all the time. We would still drill. We'd still catch up. He'd show me what's going on. So I wasn't totally out of the picture. And I started taking some judo and getting my ass kicked in judo. And the reason I got I started at the YMCA under Mr. Cook, the local YMCA, and they would start with Newaza, with ground grappling. And I was a blue belt, and I was doing really well, better than the brown belts.
Came in like just cocking the walk.
Just came in, just grappling. I didn't know shit about judo. I just knew that it was like a parent art to jiu-jitsu or companion art to jiu-jitsu. So I took it, and I would have a good time on the ground, and they came stand-up time. Now, my stand-up was pathetic. Craig Q. Cook made fun of my double leg takedowns and said, "You know what? Don't use this. I'll give you something else."
It's not for you.
Yes. So, but then it became the stand-up time, and I just got tossed around. I mean, I would go home hurt. I'd get tossed around.
Right.
I don't remember how long I lasted. It was less than a year.
Did they have mats?
Yeah, we had mats. We'd pull out mats. Again, it was a local YMCA. We pulled out mats.
Because I've seen people doing judo on like wood floors, and I'm like, what?
They were really thin mats.
Those puzzle mats. Those puzzle piece mats.
Puzzle, geez. Yeah, I'm dating myself. We didn't have puzzle mats then.
No, there's people still using those now.
No, we didn't have them in the 90s.
Oh wow, yeah, that'd be bad.
That was a later.
No, you had those accordion mats that you put.
Those were exactly. That's what they were.
Right. So you drop out of judo.
drop out of judo. I'm still doing a little bit with Nelson every now and then, but
Right.
even we started getting. He winds up getting divorced from my wife's sister, so we're not as close. He
That makes things up.
he winds up going in the military too. That had things going too.
Right.
But he gets his black belt from a local guy. At this point, there's two relatively local jiu-jitsu guys. Ricardo Almeida's out west about an hour. And then you have Henzo's already here in the city. Let's go back to Craig. Let's go to the timeline. So Craig, I think that I'm the only person on the planet left that will talk about Craig. Craig doesn't even talk about Craig anymore.
Yeah.
He's out of jiu-jitsu. I caught up with his son on Reddit, private messaging him, because his son now takes jiu-jitsu. I think it was a blue belt when I caught up to him and asked him, "Are you Craig Cook related to?" I don't think the son's name is Craig. Are you Cook related to Craig Cook? How many Cooks are going to do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, that's my dad." And I kind of told him my story. I said, "Your dad's an important person in my life. Please pass along my, that he was important to me."
Right.
And I'm sorry, my boss is calling.
No worries. We can pause it if you want to pick it up.
Can we pause it?
Yeah. All
I would
right.
have said yes. I need more money. Help me.
All right. Okay. Back from the pause. So you were saying, you run into Craig's son on Reddit.
On Reddit and ask him about Craig, what he's up to and stuff like that. And he said he's completely out of jiu-jitsu. Doesn't even like to talk about it. His son started taking it.
That's terrible. That really is a terrible thing.
Well, what happened, and I might be talking out of school a little bit. These are the kind of things that I'm a little bit unsure about, because even though I was taking jiu-jitsu in the early 90s and I was a student under Craig, I was not by any sense of the word one of the inside guys. Right. I'm one of those anonymous guys that show up, take class, go home. Right. I have my one training partner. We all know that. They have the one guy they come to train with. You're friendly with the other guys. You're having a couple of drinks with them. But I really wasn't on the inside to have any inside knowledge at all. But I'll give you a little bit of the kind of things that I hear, or I can tell you what happened and then a little bit of what I think happened.
Right.
So if you don't know the history, Craig was a student of Horian and everybody else that would come through. Horian's from garage days to the Torrance Academy, the kind of the flagship academy in the United States at the time. So he was one of the first American students there. He was a wrestler who, the way I remember him telling the story is it was back during the Gracie Challenge days, where you would come in, take a shot at the title, get humbled, and then what Craig said, he did that. He was a wrestler. He did that. He got beat. Well, he didn't get beat up. He got tapped out. He got submitted. He got manhandled. And he said, I kept bringing bigger and better guys than me in, and they had the same experience. He said, so that's what I wanted to learn. So he, again, this is my recollection of the story that he told me personally, is that he would take classes 5 days a week, twice a day. And after 10 years, Horian still wouldn't give him a black belt. After 10 years of twice a day working out, Craig had to go to Brazil and got it from Elio and Hoyler, got his black belt from Elio and Hoyler. So he comes back, opens up a school, actually piggybacks off remember the blue belt I talked about, Dave Lentz?
Yeah.
He hooks up with Dave Lentz, who was a nationally ranked Taekwondo instructor and a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. So he's got his own school where he's got multiple martial arts. He's got an Aikido guy and Taekwondo. That's all I remember is Aikido and Taekwondo, but I knew there were other things that he would have. And so he winds up hooking up with him. And the way it used to be back then is there was a bucket at the side of the mat. When you came to the mat, you put cash in the bucket. And I forget what it was. I don't know if it was $25 a class and I was taking 2 classes a week, it was costing me $50, or if it was $50 a class. I don't remember. But I do remember it was more than I really should have been paying. It was more.
It wasn't cheap.
It wasn't cheap.
Yeah. He was already adjusting for inflation.
And it certainly wasn't cheap for somebody starting a career with a new kid and a new house.
Yeah.
But again, my wife, God bless her, never once
That's awesome.
complained about the time or anything else like that. Not once. To this day, not once. And I spent a lot of time doing jiu-jitsu. I spent a lot of time the last decade doing jiu-jitsu. So we would hear like Craig talking with somebody in the office phone every now and then. Heated discussions. Don't know who it was at the time, but heated discussions. And then we come into the school one day, and the Gracie signs that are up on the school, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu things are gone. And it says Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We've never heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was not a thing.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, Craig Q. Cook made the name Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
And what me and a couple other students surmised was, or maybe I got some inside information, is that Corian wanted to be kicked up some cash for using the Gracie name, or whatever the argument was. And Craig said, I am now talking out of school. I have no idea if this is what really happened, but this is what I've always thought happened, is that he didn't want to do that. Screw it. I'm not going to use the Gracie name. We're going to call it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And now we all have schools, So but my thought was, hey, we're still learning the same thing. I don't care what it is, whether it's associated with Gracie or not like that. So I take classes long enough to get a blue belt. At the same time, so now Craig's pissed off the Horian side of the family, that side.
Right.
He goes.
There's a whole other side he could go with.
And he does. And he does. He somehow, and I don't know the backstory about how Renzo got involved, but he brings Renzo from Brazil to New Jersey. I remember the first day he showed up. And here's the power of Renzo Gracie. And again, now I'm a 30-some-odd-year-old man. I have no idea who this Renzo Gracie, this short Brazilian, Renzo, this tall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, this tall, handsome guy. I don't know who he is, but he sees me rolling, and I hear him say, hey, this guy could be good. He fights with his feet. Now, this is what, 30-some-odd years? This is 30 years later? I'm still like, hey, this guy could be good. He fights with his feet. I'm still telling that story. That's the power of Renzo. And I remember him teaching one class. He may have taught more, but he taught one class. And then shortly after that, I'd stopped. And then they moved the academy in Red Bank to New York. And even Nelson had to take a day off of work to travel to New York and take a whole day. So it kind of fractured from there. We would drill a little bit. He was taking a class a week. And then a couple of schools opened up in the area. But I was mostly out of it by then. I would drill a little bit. The way I say it is I was mostly out of jiu-jitsu for at least a decade, maybe 15 years, 10 to 15 years.
Was it just one of those, like, life just got too busy, like you didn't have time for it, or did you fall out of it?
I was playing a lot of golf. I was playing a lot of softball. I was always active.
Right.
There was just a lot of other things going on, and there was no jiu-jitsu in the area.
Right.
There wasn't. You had, for a long time, you had to go up to New York City, which in order for me to take a class in New York City, you plan the whole day.
Yeah, it was a whole day thing.
It's a whole day. Even though Renzo's is I could probably get there in an hour and a half. It takes me a half hour to go to the bus.
Yeah.
The bus takes an hour and a half to get up there, hour 15 minutes, a 15-minute walk from the bus terminal. You're there for an hour and a half. Now you got to catch the train again, get your car back, catch a train, get the car, or get the bus.
Yeah, unless you've been up to New York for like longer than a weekend, and you really gotta understand or get a physical feel of the whole transit route of everything and the traffic. People don't understand what it takes to get just even 2 miles in the city, let alone go from like Jersey to back to Manhattan or wherever you had the school at the time.
Yeah, it was Manhattan. It was a process to get there. So even Nelson was doing less and less. So it went away for a while until my 9-year-old, my now 23-year-old, 24, wanted to start taking jiu-jitsu classes. And so there were 2 schools in my town. One was a guy named Billy Scott, and he only had kid wrestling, and the other one, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and he just started kids jiu-jitsu classes. So I talked to Josh on the phone, and what's funny is I pretty much quit jiu-jitsu when he started. Mm-hmm. So we know some of the same guys. We don't think we ever took a class together, but we know a lot of the same guys and a lot of the same stories. And he says, you know what? I'll teach your son, but you got to come back too. And I said, cool. No, I said, there's no way. I know what this is. Yeah. You can fool somebody else. I've been there. I've
been in this circle.
Yeah, this is not for somebody in their 40s now.
Yeah,
this is a hard thing to do. And he goes, fine, I won't teach your son. And I said,
That's a power move right there.
it was a power move. And then he said, tell you what, if you come back 1 day a week, I won't charge you. I'll just charge your son. Just 1 day a week. He goes, it has value. Go ahead.
This was Josh saying this to you.
This is Josh.
Right.
Josh said, there's value to my school to have somebody who understands the roots of jiu-jitsu in the area.
Yeah.
There's value to it, so I won't charge you. So I wound up coming back once a week, and then twice a week, 3 times a week. My 9-year-old winds up quitting. Now I'm there 5 days a week. My wife starts taking classes.
Wait. So when your 9-year-old quits and it's just you, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna have to start charging you, bud.
Yeah, no, he did. He wound up charging me for a little while, and then when my 9-year-old was coming, I was helping teach the kids classes.
Mm-hmm.
Just hanging out and helping the instructor. One instructor left, and then the other instructor, life got in the way. One instructor was politics. If you don't know the old school jiu-jitsu politics, you could have a whole podcast on old school jiu-jitsu politics.
We're very well versed in jiu-jitsu politics. Don't worry.
20 years ago, I would have been kicked out of my school for having this conversation.
For
just
sure.
Talking to somebody from another school.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm teaching the kids classes, and then one leaves because of politics, another one life gets in the way, and I'm left teaching the kids classes, and that's when he takes me off the bill. Eventually, like a year or two after teaching the kids classes, and I became a mainstay. I figured at my age I was never going to be. I competed until I was a purple belt, and I always I was 150 pounds and at least 10, 15 years older than everybody else that I competed with.
Awesome.
I knew that my time was. I wasn't there to be a competitor. I was going to have to, if I wanted to have a passion for this, I was going to have to teach. So anytime Josh was sick or something like that and asked me to teach, I would teach. There's a skill to teaching that takes a long time. Get somebody new who's never taught. You guys, get somebody.
Well, Shawn teaches.
Catch their breath.
Yeah, Shawn teaches.
But have you ever seen anybody, a good jiu-jitsu guy who really understands it, has never taught, and teaching something they know? Like if I have somebody new teach something that they know, I'll go over it with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell them way ahead of time so they have time to prepare. But I think it's like singing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know where the breaths are, you get yourself out of breath. I even catch that sometimes where all of a sudden I'm not in the right cadence. You got to stop for a second.
Well, or you get too many details or not enough details, or you move on too quick. There's so many pitfalls to teaching.
I learned a great trick from Josh, from my instructor. And I want to talk about Josh in a little bit too, because he's out of the game now. But one of the great things that I've learned a lot of great things from him. But he taught that you were saying about not putting enough details in, putting too much, making a mistake when you're teaching, not teaching the technique right, and having to go back in. He would say, whenever any of these things happen, you didn't give enough detail, you gave too much detail, you forgot something, always say, all right, guys, let's bring it in, let's clean this up. So whenever I hear an instructor say, hey, let's clean this up, that means one of those 3 things happened. I didn't put enough. I screwed up.
Either I screwed up, you guys are screwing up, or we both screwed up, and we got to recommunicate.
And I've screwed up plenty of times teaching, but now I'm to the point where I just say, hey guys, I taught that to you wrong. I kind of mixed up 2 things in my head.
So when your 9-year-old wanted to start training, did they already know? Did she already know that like you train?
Yeah, this is my middle son. He knew. He did a little jiu-jitsu at 5 with Kurt Pellegrino. Because Kurt Pellegrino was 2 towns north of me.
Yeah.
So he was 15 minutes from my house. And so he trained a little bit with Kurt, and he wanted to get back in the game again. And jiu-jitsu was always in the house. There was always 2 men moving furniture, rolling around somewhere. We go to a family event. Me and Nelson would find the empty room, the spare room, move the bed up against the wall, and we would train a little bit. Like I said, there was a time where we weren't as tight as we had been.
Right.
So whenever we got together, it was like, all right.
That's cool though. I mean, like it's kind of cool. It's like, the kid kind of got you on the path. Me back in. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pellegrino was teaching down here at one point too. He was up at the Armory.
Yeah.
Yeah, he moved from he actually moved from New Jersey down to Florida when my son was taking classes with him. And he actually kept in touch with the kids for a long time.
That's awesome.
Emailed the parents and stuff like that. He really did. Yeah. He's got some little black eyes. He's back up in the area, but I will always say good things about Kurt just based on that. And he said he went went down there to pursue his dream of mixed martial arts and getting into the UFC.
No.
So, but he kept in touch with the parents for a long time. So.
Do you now? I know because you and I were kind of joking around about this, but you have a story / lesson that I thought was hilarious when I heard about this. That a blue belt saw another person get their blue belt, and they didn't feel that person deserved it over them.
The Craig story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, let me tell you about my kind of where I met with belts and stuff like that. And it comes from Craig. Craig, we didn't know belts when there was no. You didn't know shit about jiu-jitsu in the early 90s. Craig comes over, and here's a white belt. Get used to the quote is, get used to the belt you're wearing. You're going to be wearing it a long time. So I've never worried about my belt, not once. So this is when people are starting to get their blue belts. They're starting, we've been there. He's been teaching us a year or so, and people are starting to get promoted. So Craig's sitting against the wall, and watching a couple of guys roll. And there's a guy on the other side I'm sitting next to Craig. There's a guy on the other side of him and says, how come he has a blue belt and I don't have a blue belt? I could take him anytime. Craig just goes, all right, go, he's right fucking there. What do you need me for? Go, he's right there. Is that the story you wanted to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right there. You don't need me. You're a man. Go take care of business.
So how long until that person got a blue belt?
I don't even remember. I don't even know if he stuck around. The first blue belt promotion I ever heard of was a guy named Tommy. Tommy was like the shortest, most unassuming guy at the school. You would never think that Tommy was a killer. Tommy, he got his blue belt. Craig threw it in the back of his truck, and Tommy didn't know it for like a week. And Craig said, did you find anything in the back of your truck? Tommy's like, what are you talking about? Go to your truck. Goes to his truck, and there's a blue belt. He goes, I threw it in your truck a week ago.
Oh, that's funny.
That's going to suck.
That's the best promotion I've ever heard. Like you see the ones, the promotion ceremonies, then you see the
belt tying,
rolling with the guy, and then they put the belt on him while he's rolling. But that's even better. Here, I've got 2 blue belts right above me over here that are going to 2 of my students. As soon as we can get back into the thick of things, hopefully they don't watch this.
No, they need to watch it because that's even better. Now they're going to try and figure out who's the ones that are getting it.
But
so you're going to do it that way? You're going to just throw it in the car?
I'm gonna chuck it in their car. Here you go. Good luck.
It's like, hey, douchebag.
I got promoted similar, not close to it, but he said, hey, Jim, you're a blue belt now. I don't have blue belts yet. When they come in, I'll give it to you. So I don't remember. It was a month or 2 before they came in.
That's freaking hilarious.
So like, it's never been a big deal, but I understand to keep people interested. They really do like that little piece of tape. Yeah, they do like another colored belt.
I mean, especially like in the U.S., it's really about like an achievement. It's almost like a way to project what you're feeling on the inside. Like some people, it's an ego trip. Other people, it might be like a self improvement, just realization. So I mean, it's understandable for both sides, but it's got to be crushing for the people that like that one guy. It's like, why he has it and I don't have it. It's like, all right, you don't need me.
The thing is, we make mistakes. We forget that this guy got first or got this straight blast or whatever. It's like, then you see somebody with 2 stripes that have, or 3 stripes when this guy only has 1, but he should have had as many as that guy too. And it's like, it happens.
We have a pretty. It's not lucky. It's at our gym. We set things up. It just happened. Serendipity. We didn't set anything up. We're not smart. I mean, my partner is an MMA fighter, a Division I wrestler. When he forgets something, he goes, "You got to remember, I get punched in the head for a living." So
yeah.
It just so happens that he and I and the guy Corey, who teaches our advanced classes, who's a brilliant grappler. We kind of keep everybody on their toes. We'll say, so there's 3 of us always looking at it. And you know what, our kickboxing instructor also kind of keeps track of guys. And he's a 4-straight brown belt. Probably should be a black belt by now, but Josh left a year or so ago. So we got to work on that.
Right.
But the four of us kind of keep, especially the three of us, but the four of us keep track of guys, and we'll say, hey, do you think so-and-so's a purple belt yet? Do you think he is? Keep watching, roll with them a couple of times. Let's see what we got here, see where we're at. So there's kind of four of us keeping tabs. And by and large, if we all don't agree to promote somebody, we don't promote them. Unless one of us says, no, you guys are wrong. And I think at that point, if we say, no, you guys are wrong, I'll defer to them.
Right.
Like I don't think so yet. But some people grow into their belts.
Yeah.
Some people, you hold some people back because you expect more from them. Maybe they're one of your competitors and you really want to push them. And then you have other guys that, man, they show up. They show up 5 times a week. They do the work and it's just not coming together, but they're sincere about it. You promote that person. Maybe they're like, you know what? He thinks I'm a purple belt. Maybe I should be a purple belt. Maybe I should apply myself a little bit more or kind of think about jiu-jitsu a little bit more. And if you do that right, I've had good experiences with that.
Do you, as someone who's been around the game for as long as you have, and you get into doing the promotion, do you take the mentality of the individual into play too? Like you said, they grow it, like where they're like, yeah, maybe they're at black belt level skill wise, but mentally they're not there yet.
Boy, I still have an old school mindset where, and it comes from Josh. Josh, my instructor, has kicked people who've been out, people who have been in his school all the way up to purple belt, really close to brown belt, and kicked them out because of something that they've done outside the school. Something that it's, without getting into details, is you can't be teaching somebody this stuff who's going to use it against a spouse or against a small guy in a bar just because you're feeling like an asshole today because you drank too much. And I learned from him, and I'm going to have to make the decision one day. I don't have anybody on my radar, but one day something's going to happen. You say, you know, I can't, you got to go.
Yeah, that's 100%. That happened with one of our friends' gyms. He's up in Philly at Danilo. He had to kick out 2 of his students because they got into an altercation with a kid for no reason. They just bullied a kid. He's like,
yep,
we're out.
There you go. Yeah, I've seen guys get kicked out of the gym that day for after a tap kicking a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got to go. I travel an hour to get here. I pay my dues. I've been with you for 5 years. No, you did that in front of me. What are you going to do when I'm not in front of you?
Yeah. It's that adage. It's not the first time they've done it. It's just the first time you've caught them.
Yeah,
right.
That's a lot of it.
So when you got back into it, was it around like 2008 or something you said?
Probably 14 years ago.
All right. So when you got back into it.
Yeah, about 2008, yeah.
What was it, like a switch right away? You're like, damn, I missed this, like, and got back into it? Or was it just kind of like it kind of the infection got in there again?
It's weird. It's always been in me. It's always been part of my life. My daughter, who's, like I said, now a purple belt, used to think it was weird watching her father and her uncle literally wrestle on the front lawn for hours in front of neighbors and stuff like that, unapologetically, just with no embarrassment at all.
Right.
So it was always around. I remember my first roll coming back after not really rolling, and I didn't have a hard time. It was somebody who's a little bit smaller. I wasn't a big guy. I'm not a big guy now, but I was smaller than I am now, and it just kicked back into place. It was
It's a riding a bike.
Yeah. It was a lot of holding on to closed guard. I remember a lot of coming back was a lot of getting to closed guard and just breaking guys down and holding on to them and go, what the fuck do I do now? Kind of stuff.
So, I mean, not that everybody's, just storyline is different. What would you say to someone that maybe went through the same thing or is going through the same thing? Maybe they haven't been to the gym in 10 years or 5 years, and they're worried about coming back in. Some people have that kind of just feeling like, oh man, I don't feel like going back in and looking goofy. Like, what would you say to that?
I think the big difference now, from even when I came back, over 10 years ago, is that the way the higher belts, at least in my experience, and I've traveled from Texas to New Hampshire to Delaware for my old job, and I would take jiu-jitsu classes. And what I see is the temperament of the higher belts is much different than when I first came up. When I first came back, there was a blue belt, and he would punish you. He would dick you because he knew how to, and nobody else did.
Right.
And it was Craig who would just toy with you. Rolling with Craig was like rolling with a wet gi. You'd push, and there was nothing to push. Next thing you know, your arm's taken. You push, now you're on your back.
Right.
It was like rolling with a wet gi. It was impossible to roll with him. But once I came back, I was in a school where my instructor was a purple belt when he opened the school in 2005. And purple belt, brown belt, black belt, all being an instructor. And the guys who came up underneath him they weren't meatheads. But if you think that you're going to come, from decades ago and come into this gym and just think you're part of the team, you're going to have to earn it.
Right.
And I ate a lot of shit for a long time. A lot.
Yeah.
I can remember the first time that I kind of got it finally on the inside, kind of, is I went to an open mat on a Sunday with two guys, two more senior guys than me, and I didn't tap and I held my own. Then they started talking to me. This day and age, your blue belts, your purple belts, your brown belts, you come in, you're coming in your first day, you get as much respect. At least in my school, and I see it in other schools, you get as much respect as anybody else. None of our senior guys are trying to beat anybody up. You don't prove anything by bringing it to somebody who's here for, it's his third class or it's his eighth class. We don't let anybody roll until they take 8 classes. Mm-hmm. But their first time rolling, there's no pride. I can remember one kid, probably a 16-year-old kid. We rolled, and I let him do whatever he wanted to me. And he gets on top of me, the bell rings, and he goes, "I almost got you. You almost did. You almost did." Yeah. So there's a lot more of that.
Add another 5 minutes to the clock, please.
I did that once. Relatively recently, and Nate doesn't mind if I tell him the story. We have a guy, Nate. I won't say his last name, Nate. He's a bigger guy. Maybe, I don't know, how big are you, Nate? 250, 280? Right. It was his first day rolling. So normally when it's the first time rolling, either me, one of the senior guys are going to roll with you first to kind of set the pace a little bit and get things going. So my general thing is I take bottom. I'll even let you pass my guard. When we get to the 2-minute mark, all right, it's my turn to see if I get on top and see if I can submit you. So Nate gets on top of me, now I think it's time to go, and I can't move him. I can't do anything. And we get up afterwards, and I says, "Nate, you wrestle?" He goes, "Yeah, I wrestled all my life." I said, "Oh, that explains things. Okay, don't let a wrestler on top of you when they're new." Yeah. For me, anyway, they're tough to get out.
It was funny because Shawn is a coach at Temple Martial Arts in Delray, and like we used to train together at Jocko, and now I'm at Excel. He's at Temple, but we all have all the same friends. We train with each other all the time, so. I went one day to go train at Temple with Shawn, and they had a new guy. He's an ex-pro football player, like 6'6", 220-pound, like model, just muscle, just straight, just like a beast of an athlete. So this is like his second or third day, Shawn? It's like there's like
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it was like his first day. So like I'm the only person close to his size other than Shawn. I'm 6'4". So I was like, sure, I'll go. So we're going, and he's just smashing me. And I'm just sitting there like, obviously not letting him get like too far, but I can't move him. Like I tried to move him. I can't move him. So I look at Shawn, I'm like, please tell me when there's 30 seconds left. And I'm looking at him, making eye contact with Shawn. And then I look at the clock, butterfly sweep go. I've never seen someone so pissed off, but I was like, man, if I didn't have those 4 years ahead of you, 5 years, whatever it was, I would have been so screwed. So it's funny when you say it's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, it definitely comes into play once in a while when you get one of those guys.
But the story is, and this is where Nate doesn't mind me saying it, he wanted to go get another partner. I said, no.
So hey, let's go.
Yeah, 30 seconds later, he was strangled. So I feel
So what did he say to that?
No, he loves it. He tells the story more than I do.
You
see this fucking guy?
Tim, the funny thing is there was that. Here's the whole thing: is I think that time, like, so your second journey into jiu-jitsu is about what I started in January of 2007. I was
right about the same time.
I was 33 when I started. I tell everybody I'm just like Jesus. I started my ministry, but but when it was at that time, it was like from 2004, I would say, till about 2011. That was that whole affliction time where everybody wanted to look and be a badass. I think it was just a part of our culture at that time. And also the other thing I think is I would say the mid 2000s is when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where people were starting to Americanize Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, everything in America was, we want to be number one, we want to be the best, we want to be, so it's like, and we're really competitive about that. So I think it was about that time when people were, you know, it was still being Americanized. And now I think it's gotten to the point, now that we're here 13 years later, that people are being like, okay, we made it our own, kind of. So let's kind of chill and let's figure out how to calm this down a little bit from where we were, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
Jim, I got a question for you. So I mean, you know, for all intents and purposes, you were really there as jiu-jitsu was starting up in the United States. I mean, you're one of the first people.
On the East Coast.
On the East Coast. What do you see is probably one of the biggest differences from how you started up to now on just jiu-jitsu in general, even the academies, like you were talking about, people being respectful the second they walk in, but like just as far as like the community and the art to begin with?
When you say that, two things jump to mind. The first thing is when I started jiu-jitsu, and this could be a Craig thing, it might not be anything else, but Craig was all I had. There were no books. I had the Hoist background, and Hoist said, again, the first lesson, I don't want to get punched. Nobody's punch proof. Craig would say, I'm going to paraphrase, and I might even be making stuff up now because it's a long time ago, but this is the sense that I got. The spirit is right. He would say, if you wanted to get in shape, go to a gym. If you want to, if you think you're going to get spirituality from a martial art, this isn't the place. Go to church. He had that kind of a thing. He said, I'm here to teach you one thing. I'm here to teach you jiu-jitsu. And by jiu-jitsu, I'm trying to teach you how to fight. And by teaching you how to fight, I mean how to punch somebody without being interrupted. That was basically under Craig. That's what we were learning, especially the beginning of it. Like back in the day, there was a lot more striking. It wasn't so sportified. There was a lot more, and I don't remember, it was a quarter of the classes, the start of every class, but we would do a lot more, you know, that old school, like Hoist closing the distance in the first UFCs. There was a lot of the closing the distance, how to slip a punch, how to get to the clinch, how to close the distance, get to a clinch. And then a lot more clinch takedowns, kind of Greco type takedowns, instead of shot type takedowns. We had those too, but a lot of it was how to hold your own against somebody that wants to hit you. Mm-hmm. So that was a good portion. And then the other portion was more sport grappling, where I used to ride home with Nelson going, I think we're starting to learn how to fight each other now. And that solidified a little bit under my instructor, who used to say, you know, I'm trying to teach you how to grapple against the best in the world. If you can grapple against the best in the world, the least in the world, you know, the somebody else who doesn't train, you're not going to have a problem with. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. I see it a lot less of that. I try to pepper that into my classes, and I wonder if I'm doing a disservice. I wonder, you know, should I do like maybe short courses of jiu-jitsu for self-defense? I mean, we talk when we're teaching a class. You talk about having inside bicep control. When you have inside bicep control, it's a lot harder for the guy to punch you. Don't chase his hand because then he can slip your hand and punch you, kind of stuff. We do teach those kind of things. I do teach occasionally coming in off the big haymaker, slipping a jab to a clinch, but not nearly as much as I remember it being taught. Again, this is going back a lot.
There's like the big transition from self-defense focused fighting to the sport.
And it could be Craig. And I wouldn't even call it self-defense. Because self-defense, it's really one-on-one, man-on-man fighting is what it is. You want self-defense, and I think it was Craig or somebody afterwards, you want self-defense, buy a gun. Because that's self-defense. We're really teaching you, you know, one-on-one confrontation. If it's
Right.
2-on-1, run away.
Right.
You don't get a shot.
Right.
So that's the one thing it is, and I don't know if it's Craig. I don't know if that's how it was in California. My first experience was 100%, well, a little bit Hoist, who was training for UFCs, and Craig. So it was just those. It was more kind of fight oriented. And the other thing is the advent of no secrets. All jiu-jitsu's out here. It's all out there. As a matter of fact, we're going to change the name of our academy because we only owned it. We only bought it for 2 years. We bought the name of the academy for 2 years. If Josh wants to open up another one in the future, we want him to have his name back. And one of the things I thought about calling it was Sherpa Jiu-Jitsu, because we're not so as much instructors sometimes anymore as we are people that are shepherding people over a mountain, up to the highest point of the mountain. All the jiu-jitsu's out there. Part of my job is to tell you what I think is BS, and what I think you should be paying attention to at your level. So that's the other. There's all the jiu-jitsu's out there. There's no secrets left. I'll go back to an old Hoist story. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jim, what I tell my guys, very similar to your Sherpa, is I say, look, man, I said, you will learn more from your training partners than you will from me.
100%.
I say, what I do is I show you guys the path. This is your path. But your partner is the one that's going to show you, okay, watch out for this sharp rock right here. Watch out for this pothole. Watch out for this snake that's going to strike. They're the ones that are going to actually lead you. They're the ones that are going to guide you. I'm just showing, look, this is the direction. This is the path. Stay on this path. But your partner is your true, almost your true Sherpa.
It's funny. When you get as far as, in my experience, I don't know if yours is similar. I wound up having really close training partners that really helped me. Like when I got promoted, I wrote a big thing. I forget where I put it. I don't know if I put it on Reddit or if I put it on Facebook or whatever. That I really thanked 4 training partners in particular that were really, really instrumental to my development. It goes right to what you said. I had one guy where you could just ask a stupid question, or we kind of had this pact where you can almost brag about what you did, knowing that that's bad. But listen, I tapped so-and-so. This is what I got him with. You really can't do that. That's wrong. But I found with this one guy, we can do that. And he was also my bullshit detector. I would say, hey, I'm working on this. What do you think? And he goes, it's not going to work. I'm just going to do this. All right, good enough. Boom, out of my head. So like I said, you have that training partner. And then I had somebody that was a little bit under me. He's now a 4-stripe brown belt in another school. He came up as a kid, as a 15, 16-year-old kid. He started out in my kids' class. He became at like mid-blue belt, like my constant training partner for a decade. And he just had nothing but patience and time for me. He had always the jiu-jitsu responses. He was like the perfect body type, the perfect mindset. If I called him now and said, hey, Vinny, can you meet me at the academy in 2 hours? I want to go over something. He'll be there. Boom. So
That's awesome.
Vinny, another training partner. Vinny went to college, got his big boy job. I lost Vinny. I lost Ray, the other guy. He moved to Florida. He came back since. So then I got a couple of surrogates. The one guy who teaches my advanced classes, Corey. The way I say it is I created a monster in him. He would have been a monster anyway. But when Ray left, and Ray was I thought had the best jiu-jitsu mind other than my instructor in the school, I started asking Corey some questions. And Corey said, why are you asking me? I said, because I need help. And I think you got the best grappling mind in the school right now other than Josh. So I'm asking you for that reason. So it goes right back to Shawn's. You have to have good partners. So those are the guys that are going to do it. So Corey became my guy, and now, I bury bodies for him.
It's always good to have that connection.
And then when Vinny left, a guy who helped me teach the kids classes, also one of my kids' students, he's a 4-stripe brown belt now. Dominic, he's been, after Vinny left, Vinny hasn't been with me for like 6 or 7 years. It was Dominic who just gave me all the time in the world and would let me do anything. And now he's a peer. Dominic is 100% a peer. He's not a student anymore. 100% awesome. A peer.
So you go through this whole just story, your life of everything, like going in and out of jiu-jitsu. What went through your head when you finally got your black belt?
It's weird. You got to go back to the mindset that I've always had. And my partner, too, who is a Division I wrestler. We are the worst guys when it comes to belts. The worst guys, because I used to say, what belt are you in wrestling? You know, laughing. So my thought process was, I can tell you what it was, because Josh said, what do you feel now that you got a target on your back? I said, come on. I said, I've always had a target on the back. Yeah. I'm the old guy. I said, if you want to hit one of your senior guys, if you're going to roll with one, you're thinking you're going to tap one of these guys or dominate them rolling. Who are you going to pick? Corey. Corey's 6'3", 6'4". He looks like Superman. Yeah. So you're not going to get Corey. Shammy, my partner, he's a Division I wrestler that will eat you alive when he wants to. So you got him. We have a couple of the other guys. Young Joe John, who's just an athlete. He doesn't need jiu-jitsu. He'll just out athlete you.
Right.
You know, another guy that's just a bear. But you got the skinny old guy. I said, I've had a target on my back since you gave me a purple belt. I said, if anything, I'm relieved. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm out of the game. It doesn't matter. Now I do jiu-jitsu. I've always done jiu-jitsu for me, but now I do it for me. It doesn't matter if 7 white belts in a row tap me. What are you going to take it away?
Right.
You can. But now I'm out of the rat race. I'm out of the color game. That was it was more relief. The other thing I told Josh, I said, don't promote me. I said, it's going to come one day because I'm not quitting. And that's what Nelson told me. Nelson got his black belt. He goes, you know how you get a black belt? Don't die. They got to give it to you sometime. So I told him I don't want a pity promotion because I've been around a long time. You feel like he's been. When you think the time is right, that's when I want it. I said, the other thing is, as much it would be an honor, my instructor is close with Henzo. He's close with Matt. He's close with some other guys. I said, I don't want my black belt given to me by them. It would be an honor. Don't get me wrong. If that's what you think the path is, have at it. But I am your student. I want to be promoted by you. So
that's cool.
I don't know if that really answers your question, but
no,
that's
does.
Kind of what I thought about.
But no, but I mean, it's really fitting. I mean, it's pretty cool because it's almost like the second you got that belt, it's like your ego's gone, and like all the other stuff that everybody focuses on and the whole journey of jiu-jitsu is gone. It's like it's not about the tapping or getting tapped. It's not about what color the belt is. It's got nothing to do with that. It's 100% your journey now. It's what you experience in that moment every time you come in to train.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It is. However, if you tap me, I'm coming at you.
I'll send Shawn.
The ego's still there. I might not catch up to you because my jiu-jitsu, I'm a counter puncher. When you get to my age, and I also have some health conditions. I have a bad tick. I had a heart attack in the gym.
Wow. Oh, jeez. You're the second person we've had on our podcast that had something happen. We had somebody with a stroke a couple last year.
I saw that, but I didn't listen to that podcast. I didn't watch that one.
You know, it's pretty good. But it's funny, too, because our good friend Tom, he was my solid training partner for a year and a half. And he trained with us like consistently day in, day out
with a heart defect
that he didn't even know about. So it's funny because he had to go and take a huge step back on his jiu-jitsu. It's the same thing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, like, it's good to see you're healthy.
But I actually – but my point is that I don't have – at my age and having that, I don't have the – it's not that I don't have the gas tank. My tank doesn't refill as fast as most people's.
Right.
So that's why when you roll with me, it's usually like about the 2-minute mark. I got one good spurt in me. I have one good sweep attempt or one good turnover attempt. And then try to hunker and see if I can't get a submission.
But one. I heard Henner telling a story about Helio, and Helio would still get on the mat in his 90s, but what he did was, what was a victory to him? He just moved the goalpost. The victory was to start in a bad position and survive
and get out. Yeah,
and that was his victory. The older we get, the more we got to move the goalposts. I'm at that age. I'll be 47 in June. I don't want to move the goalpost yet.
Yeah, I'm not moving it yet. So you got another decade, brother. I'm not moving it yet.
You got time.
Funny though. my partner Shammy. I said, one day you guys are going to be giving me mercy rolls, and he goes, "Who's to say we're not giving it to you now?"
Oh, shots fired. Those are some serious shots fired. So I know we got to get going, and we both got to get back to work. But Shawn, you're freezing up there a little bit. Or is that my internet? Oh, I think we just lost Shawn just for a second. Give it a minute. He'll be right back. Yeah, see, he's freezing up. So I know Shawn has a question that he wants to ask you, if we can get him back in just a minute, but I'll let him ask it. There you go. Shawn, you there?
I'm here.
There. All right, there he is. So, Shawn, let's hear your question.
All right, Jim. Everybody's in the lockdown. Everybody's in the quarantine. What have been your 3 go-to shows on Netflix or Prime or anything, or movies or something that you've watched since you've been
All right. One of these is embarrassing.
My Little Pony.
No. It's Better Call Saul. I'm finally catching up with Better Call Saul.
Nice.
I watched kind of like heist movies and stuff like that with my 15-year-old son.
Nice.
We like that, and I play Minecraft.
Nice.
Okay.
What's funny with Minecraft though is both my sons used to play it all the time, and I used to make fun of them all the time. And then when I started traveling for work, I said, what can I do with them that I can still be with them? We played Minecraft together. You get a realm and you play Minecraft. Now the two of them don't play anymore, and I'm playing. But listen, guys, I also play Call of Duty.
Nice.
So
are you throwing out your namer tag in there? If anybody wants to challenge you, Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's JMC_IV.
All right.
I think that's it. But let me tell you about Minecraft though. If you've ever played Minecraft, play hardcore Minecraft where you only have one life.
All right.
Like all the monsters and stuff like that
Right.
are hardcore. I'm at my 31st world trying to just beat this Ender Dragon. It is the most stressful fucking game when you play it at this level. And the way I described it to somebody, it's like Jiu-Jitsu. You know how Jiu-Jitsu is? You have all these lulls.
Right.
And then you have a lull, and then there's a period of intensity.
Right.
Like, oh shit, I'm gonna die if I don't do something now. That's what playing hardcore Minecraft is. You got these long lulls, and all of a sudden something's happening. Somebody wants to kill you badly.
So are you to the point where like you go and when they play it at the movie theaters, like they have the whole screen for the movie theater? Are you at that level yet?
No.
Come on.
I suck. But that's my embarrassing thing is I play Minecraft like every moment that I kind of have. Not every moment, but
listen, you won't hear.
Just relax.
You won't hear anything from me, man. I still got my Nintendo. I just
got over my addiction to the newest Star Wars game, so I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah, you won't hear anything from us.
But shows Better Call Saul. Then I got to catch up on the Man in a High Castle. I got to catch up with that one. I didn't watch that last season, and I think Westworld is now back up.
Yeah,
because I've been seeing that online, and I keep going past it. So no, I'm 3 shows away from that. So
I actually want to check out the original. I want to check out the original Westworld. Was it from like the 70s or something?
Yeah. I live it. That's how old I am.
I love them. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You said like you're watching heist movies and stuff with your son. Are you watching like new ones or old ones? Like, are you throwing the Sting at him?
We go back and we haven't gone that deep. We watch. What's the last one we watched? Oh, we just watched Inception.
Nice.
Blew his mind. I had to like keep pausing and say, "Here's what's going on."
You know what I just watched that I really, really loved, and I should have watched it earlier. It's based on a true story. Is Lawless.
Mm-hmm. No, That's a good movie. That is a really good movie.
It's about bootlegging in West Virginia, and it was based off of a book called The Wettest County in the World, and it was just about these brothers and bootlegging and like what happened. And my grandfather was really into that like part of the like history. Like he loved gangsters and the bootlegging stuff. So like part of it was a nostalgia thing. I was like, oh, let me watch this, but it was really good. It was it's Shia LaBeouf and
Tom Hardy.
Yeah. And there are these bootlegging brothers in Virginia back in the 1930s. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the list. The next two on our list is Ex Machina.
That's a good movie.
A heist movie, which isn't a heist movie, but a great movie.
Yeah.
And
that one's definitely a mindfuck.
Yeah, it is. And the other mindfuck is by the same guy that did Inception, Memento.
Oh,
Memento. I
Memento.
haven't watched that
I
yet.
watched that. I watched that till like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning with my older son, and we watched that and looked at each other afterwards. And said, "That's the best thing I ever saw." What the hell did we just see?
I had that same exact reaction when I watched it back, what was it, 10, 15 years ago when it came. I was like, that was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. But here's the thing with that movie. You can only watch it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you know.
Because now you know.
Now you know. But I did it once. I watched it, in the timeline. I did that afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I watched again? I'm one of those people, like, if I have a movie that I really like, I'll watch like 10 times.
Yeah.
I watched the original Andromeda Strain.
Yep.
Which is like even like cooler when you see with everything that's going on. And
Michael Crichton.
yeah. Equilibrium.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
Shawn,
Have you ever read Fahrenheit 451?
a long time
I
ago.
have
Ray
to.
Bradbury.
Yeah, that's a
We
long
have to.
time.
It's basically that story, but instead of the guy being the guy that shoots or that puts everything on fire to like all the artwork and stuff, he's a police officer that has this gunfighting style called
Gun kata. Yeah. It's
really good. It's what's his name?
It came out the same time as
Christian Bale.
The Matrix. So like it came out, I think like 2 weeks before The Matrix did. So it's the same kind of like fancy martial arts stuff, but it got thrown into like just like the shitter. Like people forgot about it.
The story's even better.
But it's so good. It's so good.
It's 1984-ish society.
Yeah. So they literally
Big Brother
create
and everything.
an entire martial art based off of guns, and like they find all the angles, like so they study the right way of shooting the gun without getting shot and stuff like that. So it's very like flowery like gun battles, but it's really well done. It's really well
Put
done.
that on the list too.
Yeah, that one it's one of those action like guy movies, but it's with Christian Bale. It's really, really good. But all right, yeah, we definitely got to get back to work. Jim, thank you so much for taking the time.
I enjoyed it.
No,
it was nice to geek out with jiu-jitsu again.
Yeah, no, it was really
time.
cool to hear a story like that, and I think we're gonna try and dig deeper into Craig's story as well. I think it's something that deserves, as much as he doesn't want that story out there as much.
Well, let me end it with this. He wound up pissing off Henzo too, I think.
Yeah.
Now I'm out of the game at this point.
Right.
But my brother-in-law Nelson's still there, and Henzo. Do you remember the first videos that were made with Henzo, or the first kind of good ones? The Horian and Hoist ones weren't good, but Henzo and Craig put out some. It was Jiu-Jitsu A to Z. I forget what it was.
Uh-huh.
And it made a lot of money, and Henzo apparently didn't make as much as Craig. I don't know any details, but that's when Craig disappeared.
I think you just gave me a mission or homework to do some more research now and see what's going on in here.
And then Craig wound up in Idaho, I think. Like, he couldn't be farther away from either coast.
It's like right in the middle. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. I definitely need to do some more research about Craig, because there's some things that you brought up that I had no clue about. So it'd be cool to see.
Now, I could be wrong. Just my own, memories are weird. So, but these are how I remember things. This is my personal mythology, I call it. Like when I teach, I say, this is my mythology, man. I might be way off. Like, me and my wife can't agree with what happened last weekend. So, and we're both wrong.
Yeah, well, we can always go back to the tape now, so we'll be good. If you guys want to follow Jim on Instagram, it's JIM_BJJ. Follow Madama BJJ on Instagram as well, until you guys, if you decide to change the name, whatever you do.
It's happening. We're going to call it the Academy of Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what half of us call it anyway. It's just we say, hey, you're going to be at the Academy. So
that's awesome.
We still have 1,000 names, and Crack and BJJ.
Yeah, right. So you'll have to send me, once you guys get all that set up, I'll have to update all the links and stuff. If you want to take a shot over at Jim here on Call of Duty, it's GMC_IV. So maybe are you on Xbox or PS4?
No, it's PS4.
Nice. See, he knows what's up. All right. Jim, any other things you want to share with us before you take off? Or any messages for the people?
No. I'll let you go.
Awesome, man.
I can talk. Sometimes when I teach when I'm teaching, that other voice in my head's going, "Shut up, Jim. Shut up. Let him do the move. Let him do the move. Shut up, Jim."
No, that's awesome. Listen, we appreciate you taking the time coming out and sharing your story. Anytime you want to come on.
I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Any other stories you remember? Like anytime you want to share them, please just let me know. I'd love to hear them.
I have stories.
Awesome. All right. Well, take care. Be safe. You and the family, and we'll catch you later on.
You guys too. I appreciate it.
Take care, brother.
Take it easy.
Good.
Bye, guys.
There you have it, folks. Big thank you to Jim McCormick from the Academy of Jiu-Jitsu now. So I guess we heard it here first, a little spoiler alert to everyone. Thank you so much for Jim for taking the time and sharing a very unique story. No, Shawn and I talk about it. It's one of those things that, he was literally there from the beginning. One of the first American black belt in jiu-jitsu, and just to hear the little things like that, I'm sure we probably could have dug in a lot deeper too. I'm sure there probably could have made him remember a couple extra stories.
In my head, I'm thinking, man, we really got to find Craig Kuta. We could do like a documentary, finding Craig.
For sure. I think there's a lot of people that would probably be pissed off at that, which makes it even better.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. In the meantime, don't forget to check out all of our sponsors. Don't forget to check out jiu-jitsuradio.com. Check out Choke Aloha. Use chokealoha.com. Go to, oh my gosh, use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio. Man, when I get hungry, dude, I'm gone. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio at checkout. Get 20% off your entire order. Pick up a shirt, pick up a hat, whatever is on the store, whether it's brand new, limited edition, or on clearance, on sale. You can still get the discount shipped straight to your home. Promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio for that discount. Don't forget to check out Jiu-Jitsu Soap Co. Pick yourself up some sexy smelling bars. They ran out of ours. That's okay. I'm getting the new set coming in.
It's no big whoop.
No big whoop.
No big whoop.
Sold out in 24 hours.
Out. In a weekend. It's no big whoop.
So, and everybody that got one, I've been getting messages nonstop. Everybody loves it. So I guess we're going to have to make a bigger batch for the second mixtape if there's a second mixtape. But for now, once I get the package in this week, we're going to set everything up. So for the VIPs, the people that actually want to support the podcast even more, there'll be something special in there for you guys. Excuse me. Don't forget to check out jiu-jitsusoapco.com. Use the promo code JJRadio. Check out, get 10% off your purchase. Doesn't matter what you get, whether it's patches, soaps, sprays, whatever. The bath bombs are good. We're too big to fit into bathtubs, so we're shower people.
I was in my bathtub the other day.
No, that's called a pool.
Kinda.
It's called a pool, and the neighborhood is very upset, and there should be a letter on your door right about now. But last but not least, don't forget to check out giraffechoke.com. Use the promo code JJRadio and save 25% off your order of $99 or more, and you get free shipping, so you can snag yourself up something cool, like one of my favorite hats right here.
Kickhead.
Kickhead, yeah. Head kick hat. Listen,
Kickhead.
for my snapback folks, you know what's up. Giraffechoke.com, promo code JJRated to get your promo code. Don't forget to follow this guy at Gorilla Boy BJJ. Don't forget to follow this guy at Sonder Marketing. And don't forget to follow these guys at Jiu-Jitsu Radio on Instagram. That being said, thank you guys for all the support. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. And nobody can hang with my stuff.
Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!